Go ahead. You were saying something
Oh
about
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so the Bulls went on to win 55, 57 games, and they were like a quarter away from the conference finals,
Hmm.
or it might have been the NBA finals. I'm not sure. And that team was Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant. Like it was just, the only person missing was Michael Jordan. But if you look at LeBron's teams when he left, like Cleveland,
Hmm.
they were 60 plus winners, a year. He left to go to Miami. Dude, there were a lot of back to back number one overall picks. Like Miami, same way. He
Hmm.
leaves to go back. He leaves Miami, go back to Cleveland, and Miami, dude, they didn't have anybody else. I mean,
Hmm.
and then he leaves Cleveland to go to LA. It's the same thing.
Hmm.
And the only difference is LeBron James leaving. Like he was this team. Like, and people will, well, Jordan's got 6 rings. So what? Bill Russell had 11.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're
No, I
telling me
get you.
Bill
I hear you.
Russell?
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, hold on real quick though. Everybody, welcome back to another episode. This is episode 13, no, 14. Episode 14 of the Voice of the Colts podcast. I am your host, the self-anointed voice of Colts Nation, Reef, here with, you guys heard him speaking earlier, your favorite guest host and soon to be permanent host because he is the man. Jesse is with me on the microphones again. And so we're here talking. If you guys heard us, he's telling me we had a conversation on Discord. I'm kind of all over the place already. We had a conversation on Discord the other night about what quarterbacks are and aren't elite, and I made a statement that woke the Discord up, and then everyone came to life last night in this huge discussion on this. And so he brings up LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debate for good reason. I'm gonna give you guys some backstory here. The claim that was made that got me away from my family. I was away on vacation. I was in Orlando with some family members enjoying my time. And the claim that was made that just woke me up and said, you know what, I got to step away from the fam for a minute. I got business to handle, was that Jalen Hurts is not an elite quarterback. And that's just one take I cannot get behind. So we went back and forth about a lot of things. And the background as to why I said what I said was I clearly said, well, when it comes to quarterbacks, winning is everything. They are the ones responsible. Winning and losing is a quarterback statistic for a reason, in my opinion, the most important statistic. Takes precedence over everything. And some names were thrown out like Matthew Stafford, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, so on and so forth. We were going back and forth on it. Now, Jesse, you bring up, obviously, you brought up the you brought up what's his name, LeBron James, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the one thing that I'll say as it pertains to, first of all, basketball, right? In basketball, any individual player can have a serious amount of influence on the game, and it's not innate to their position. We've seen the dominance of players like Jokic, who's clearly the best player in the NBA, take teams from the center position and lead them all the way to the finals. And then you go and you look at other teams, other guys like maybe like Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, who are point guards that
Mm-hmm.
did all of that. And then you look at LeBron, who's a forward that could play any position. You look at Jordan, he was a shooting guard. None of those positions innately had the influence on the game the way the quarterback position does first, right? Secondly, those guys, you have 5 men on the field and on the court at any given time, right? And so when you bring up, so obviously you would think someone that has a position that I have where I say winning is everything would say Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, which I don't say that. I'm a big LeBron guy. I grew up watching LeBron
Yeah.
James. In my opinion, LeBron James, he is the best player of all time. When I say winning is everything, I don't just mean titles. Now, I give a lot of weight to going to finals and Super Bowls, more weight to Super Bowls than finals. It's much harder to make a Super Bowl than it is to make an NBA Finals. Um, so I put a lot of weight into those championships. I don't think it's the end all be all. Nick Foles is an
Mm-hmm.
elite, right? Nick Foles has a Super Bowl, but that was a name that was brought up to discredit my opinion, and I easily shot it down because I simply said, well, look at Nick Foles' record. He does not win. He sucks, actually.
Yeah.
He got a good playoff run, and now he has a statue in Philly for all the gratitude they have for not allowing the season to be all in vain, and took him to Super Bowl and beat Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, who
Mm-hmm.
won 7 freaking Super Bowls. That pisses me off. And the Patriots are right back in it. We'll discuss the current state of the NFL playoffs today. We'll get that in a moment. But as far as the elite conversation went, right? My point was, you got to win games. And we brought up guys like Matthew Stafford, and we brought up guys like Jalen Hurts. And in my opinion, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, and I see since his rookie season, right, where he started, I think it was 5 games in his rookie season. He went 1-4, I believe. Ever since then, never had a losing record in any season, no matter what happened. To this day, has not had a losing record, a losing season. When I said that Matthew Stafford wasn't elite when he was with the Lions, right? I made that claim he wasn't elite when he was with the Lions. Matthew Stafford had many seasons with less than 6 wins. That's horrendous. That's like, it's inexcusable. And I don't care if he threw for 5,000 yards, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, whatever the numbers were, whatever the statistics were. If it didn't lead to winning, there's no point in even discussing it at that point. That's the job. And it's the most difficult job. It's the most closely scrutinized job. It's the job that pays you the best. It's the job that, of all the masked heroes that we see in the gridiron every single Sunday, they're the ones that are recognized through the mask, right? Like, no one's giving the praise to, center that's been on the team for 10 years unless he's Jason Kelsey and makes a podcast after an electric Super Bowl parade speech, They're not really giving those guys the credits, It's the quarterback always and forever. And so with that, I think we have the moral duty to scrutinize a little harsher. But I want you to go. I want to hear you. I want to make your claim as to we talked about who's elite and who's not. I actually kind of wanted to do like a list. Let's go down the list of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and we're both gonna vote as to whether elite or not elite. All right. So we'll start with our quarterback, Daniel Jones. Elite or not elite?
No, and the reason I say that is because we don't have enough with Daniel Jones. We had that 8 games. We had the 8 games he had last year. He looked really good, but injuries happened, and that was just one season with Indianapolis. Now, if he does it his second year, if he comes back and he does it again, we could be having that conversation, especially if the offense is the number 1 scoring offense in the league.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you. I don't think he's elite either. I have a hard time imagining that he's elite because it's just like, to me, it's a little, it's premature. You know what I mean? Like, it's just premature. It's one of those things where, apologize right now because I'm trying to fix something on here, but you know what? Whatever. We'll let that little thing stay in the corner.
And I remember years ago when Titans fans would talk about how elite Ryan Tannehill was, and I'm like, get out of here.
He just didn't do enough. So to me, like I said, like I think when it comes down to those guys, and I'm gonna let you get the point on Ryan Tannehill in a second here, but when it comes down to those guys that play really well, before I ever call them elite, you have to complete. There's like a criteria list that like you gotta complete some of these things on this list. One of those things is consistently winning football games. Now, if you win a Super Bowl prior to consistently winning football games, that kind of jumps you up the list a little bit because, like I said, that game is held with far greater weight than any other single individual football game or even entire football season. Like, one Super Bowl win can carry a guy's legacy for multiple years, and that's kind of the point that I was making about Jalen Hurts is when I mentioned he has allegations to beat because he had such a rough season and a first-round exit this year. His rough season was, 10, 11 wins? That's a rough season for him. But if he goes out next year and has a losing season, I said I still would call him elite, but I would 100% agree with anybody that said he has allegations to beat. And he has a whole career that he has to finish on top, or he runs the risk of ending up like a guy like Russell Wilson, who we saw start on such a high peak and win a Super Bowl and do all these great things and fall off a cliff. And I don't know, I could pull up his win-loss record as it stands today. I could pull up Russell Wilson's win-loss record. And
It almost throws CJ Stroud in that same conversation as well.
Yeah, Stroud is here's the thing, Stroud has won consistently well, somewhat consistently well. And but I'll tell you what else with CJ Stroud. The problem with Stroud is that it's so soon, it's very early, and it's trending down. That's my problem. And he hasn't won of anything of importance yet. So, like,
Yeah.
I'd like to give him that pass for how absolutely horrendous he was in that playoff game the other night.
Yeah.
But it's hard to look the other way. And I don't think he's earned, like, the reason Jalen Hurts has earned my grace, he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them. He was probably the best quarterback as far as in-game performance for both of those Super Bowls. To be honest, played a lot better than Patrick Mahomes. Pat Mahomes obviously got the win, so you can give him credit for that and everything. But when you just look at the game itself and you're just judging, oh, this guy's good, this guy played well, this guy played well. Like,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had an incredible, minus that fumble that he had that pretty much gave away the game there, which is a huge play. Minus that, I mean, he had a flawless game, even in a loss against the Chiefs. Like, that, to me, he's earned some grace. Like, he made it to the playoffs again this year. Another dominant winning season where, although they didn't look dominant, they found ways to win week in and week out. They won their division, and it ended in a ugly loss. And now he has allegations to beat going into next season. But I don't think that it's super pertinent where he has to have an MVP caliber season. Otherwise, you cannot consider him elite. To me, it was just crazy. It's like, what does he have to do to be elite then?
Yeah. Well, so then that's where I'm kind of like, yeah, because that begs the question: was it his defense that won those games, or was it Jalen Hurts? Because you got AJ Brown, you got Devonta Smith, you got Dallas Goedert, he's got a good.
How many defensive touchdowns? How many defensive touchdowns have they scored? This is an easy question to answer. How many defensive touchdowns did they score? If it wasn't 73 or something like that, it's some crazy number, right? What was it, 20? If they didn't score 20 defensive touchdowns this season, I don't even know how you could make the argument. Like, you have to put points on the board. Like, that's the quarterback's job. So if you want to take away credit because his defense is really good, to me, I can't get behind that. We just watched C.J. Stroud with the best defense and arguably generationally talented defense. Absolutely throw it away against the Patriots and should have lost the game before that as well. The defense saved him on that one. But at the end of the day, he did just enough to win the game. He did do enough to win that game and then not enough to win the next game. The quarterback still has to do enough to win the game. I don't care how good your defense is. The quarterback still has to do enough to win the game. So you can't take too much away from him for that.
All right, so here's the stats. 22.3 points per game. Opponents' points per game were 19.1. So 22.3, which is 19th best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Opponents are scoring 19.1, which is fifth best.
Mm-hmm.
So the defense was allowing just over 2 touchdowns, and they were rushing 162.9 yards a game, which is 18th in the league,
mm-hmm.
and then passing yards was 205 yards a game, which is 23rd.
Right.
So there were 9 teams worse than the Eagles.
Right. Can I ask you a question? Is Saquon Barkley trash or not elite? Is Saquon Barkley not elite?
He's regressed. I never thought Saquon was elite.
You never thought Saquon was elite?
He had a couple of good seasons. He wasn't. But
running back windows are far smaller than the quarterback windows. So a few great seasons is an elite running back at that point. But regardless, my whole point here, that whole entire offense regressed. And I think they had their scapegoat with Kevin Patullo, who could not be named very, very responsible for all that. That's good and well. But what the insinuation that you make when you bring up the stats between the defensive points allowed and the offensive points allowed and where they rank in the league, like the offense was scoring at one of the lower half of the league. It was in like the bottom half of the league, the bottom 18 or 16 of the league, whatever it was. The problem with that is the assumption that they wouldn't score more points if it was necessary to win the football game. And you can't just make, like, this is where I made the claim where I said I label and I judge guys based on what happened, not based on what I think would happen. And it's a dangerous game when we play those. And I get why we play those hypotheticals and everything. And we look at all these things because, it's hard to make these judgments based on just one Sunday at a time type of thing. I get it. But you will still be making assumptions based on things that have never happened and may never happen. Right? Like, he won 11 games this year, 10 games, I forget which it is. He won those games. regardless of whether he needed 30 points to do it or 21 to do it or 22 to do it. Like, he did what he had to do to win enough games to win the division, make it to the playoffs. I'm not denying they had a bad season. I made it emphatically clear that I completely agree with that. I said Jalen Hurts, very bluntly, has allegations to beat. Any quarterback that ends the year losing one and done in the playoffs, throwing 4 interceptions in a playoff game, CJ Stroud, losing like anything like that, they're allegations that gotta be beat. Remember when Daniel Jones had that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers and he had turned over the ball 5 times out of the 6 times that we turned over the ball. One was that punt return. But 5 times he turned over that ball. We only lost by 1 possession. And I got on the airwaves over here and I was outraged and I was saying all this and that about these guys. Like I said, ring the alarms, ring the alarms. I was ringing the alarms. I was telling people, like, guys, you can't pretend like this is no big deal. Everyone was saying it's no big deal. It's one game. I was like, he's got to beat the allegations. And from that day forward, can I tell you something? Daniel Jones never beat the allegations since then. He's still currently under investigation in my eyes. That's why I'm not super confident in him returning and being a great quarterback for us, because from the last 6 weeks that we got to watch of him, he was awful. He won the game against the Falcons, but again, a lot of that load was carried by a Mr. Jonathan Taylor, who literally won the overtime for us, like on his own pretty much. So like, there were still a lot of allegations to beat there. And then obviously he gets injured in the Jacksonville game, can no longer defend his name. And so we move on from there. But so I'm not saying, like, I'm not damning him to like he can't possibly do it. He sucks. But I'm just saying there's allegations. And he has a history of, not only does he have a history of bad games and turnovers and stuff, he also has a history of injuries. A long list of injuries. And he's a tough guy, which means he's going to try his best to play through those injuries, which might lead to what we suspect led to a torn Achilles, right? So I'm a little worried about Daniel Jones. But every quarterback, I'm very consistent when it comes to this. Every quarterback, when you lose a football game, you got to go out and beat the allegations. Now, losing a regular season game, those allegations are kind of light. There's not a lot of evidence against you. You know, you lose one regular season game in the sea of 15, 17, whatever it is, right? You lose that many. Yeah, and you win 12, you can overlook some of the losses. But after every one of those losses, you better be prepared to go into practice hard and get into that next week and beat those allegations. Because this is the sport. This is the game. You're judged on the most recent version of yourself. Ask Russell Wilson. I looked up the stats on Russell Wilson. Do you want to hear what his numbers are for his win-loss record for his career is? A guy that we talked about as possibly like going down as not elite, which now I have to kind of second guess, and it looks a little bad because of the recency bias, but we almost forget how incredible it was during the Seattle years. You want to take a guess at what his record is? I'll tell you a total amount of games. He started 202 games.
Okay, so I'm thinking probably 178. No,
that'd be a lot of wins. He'd be first down Hall of Fame with 170 wins. 202 is how many games he started.
Okay, so I'm saying probably 120 wins, maybe 82 losses.
Wow, dude. 121, 80, and 1. Listen, the recency bias is hurts, and this is why I say, like, you're judged based on the most recent version we've seen of you. But if he retires end of this year, number one, not only is he going to the Hall of Fame, but there's no argument against whether or not he was an elite quarterback in the NFL. You talk about the Seattle years alone. If you take away the Denver, because ever since he left Seattle, his last year in Seattle was the first year he had a losing record. He went 6-8. Bounced from Seattle to Denver, from Denver to Pittsburgh, from Pittsburgh to the Giants. He went 6-8 with Seattle, 4-11 Denver, 7-8 Denver, 6-5 Pittsburgh, 0-3 New York Giants. He's had
what the difference is?
3 losing seasons.
But you know what the difference is in his last year in Seattle?
What's that?
His last year, he didn't have Legion of Boom. He didn't have he didn't have a good run. He didn't have Marshawn. When those guys left in like what 2000, because he got traded in what 2021, 22.
The Bears had probably one of the most generational defenses in NFL history, and didn't win a single Super Bowl with that defense. Now, for obvious reasons, Rex Grossman was their quarterback, right? It's like,
Yeah.
this is why I just can't take that away. Yes, he had a great defense. They still have a job to do, And like, just because the job is easier, like if you want to hold more weight into whose job you thought was easier, I'm not in the business of that because I just look at the results at the end of the day. I don't care if you need the whole world to be perfect for you to be great. If that was what you had throughout your career, I can only judge you on your career. I can't judge you on the hypothetical scenario where if I removed a big portion of what made your career, if I removed the defense, the Legion of Boom, and I separated them, and maybe they had nothing from the Legion of Boom on that team, and their defense was some middle of the pack defense. We can't have a legitimate conversation about that. It never happened. You could say he'd only win 4 games, but where the hell's the proof? You can make a claim that the proof is a 6-8 season, but that's a 6-8 season in 2021 when from 2012 to 2020, he was an elite quarterback. He was making the playoffs every year. He was winning their division practically every year. He was winning over 10 games every single season. Like, I can't sit there and hold more weight to the hypothetical scenario that you created. I can't make that hold more weight than what actually happened. What actually happened actually happened. It was reality.
So then let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What went wrong in Denver? Because they had a good running game. You brought in the coach that you wanted the next year in Sean Payton. You had a pretty good defense. So why did Russell Wilson fail in Denver when he thrived in Seattle?
It could be a lot of things. Can I tell you one thing that happened in Denver? He failed to beat the allegations, and that's why we're actually having a conversation right now. Right? Yeah. Jalen Hurts has not failed to beat the allegations yet. Like, this is where the allegations start here, right? Mind you, off an 11-win season. We're talking about a guy that just won 11 games in a year. It took his team to the playoffs again, fresh off of going to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row as not being elite. And in my head, that is psychotic. Like, that's insane. That does not make sense. It doesn't compute to me. Like, we put so much weight into, like, think about us Colts fans for a second. Like, we want everyone in the world fired and cut and released and traded and fired from a cannon. I think someone made the claim of a public crucifixion of Chris Ballard, which was asinine. That's some internet stuff, right? But that's the lengths they go to when you don't make the playoffs, right? When you don't win games. We see how important it is to win these games. He does that. Yeah. Now, what separates the elites from one another? That's going to be the Super Bowl wins, how deep you make it into the playoffs. That's going to be the stats, how much of the impact you are, where you look at, well, this defense did a lot for him and he only dropped 20 points a game, whereas maybe Patrick Mahomes' defense is giving up 27 and he's putting up 35, or whatever the case may be. I'm just throwing out random numbers. I don't actually have actual stats there, but that's where the conversation were to go when you talk about elite to elite. Right? And but Jalen Hurts 1,000,000% belongs in those elite conversations. When they brought up and they said guys like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, all those guys are elite, but not Jalen Hurts. I was like, well, there's only one guy that you named that has done anything worth value in the NFL as far as NFL success, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Not any of those other guys won a Super Bowl. I mean, only one of those other guys went to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow went to one singular Super Bowl, and Lamar's never sniffed a Super Bowl. Josh Allen's never sniffed a Super Bowl, but yet those guys are elite, and Jalen Hurts, who went 2 times in a row, isn't? Like, not just twice and not just happened upon it. He got his team there twice in a row and won one of them and was the Super Bowl MVP in that win.
Well, Josh Allen's going to have to start beating some allegations, too. Because
he absolutely has crazy allegations against him.
It's what, year 8? They can't get past. I mean, you guys to the championship game against Cincinnati like 5 years ago, I think, and then you got into the playoffs 3 years into it. But then Josh Allen. I mean, blame the refs all you want.
Oh, you can make any excuse. Yeah, everyone's got an excuse why they lost. Everyone's got excuses.
But he had five turnovers.
Yeah, and that comes with...
He had 5 turnovers.
Hey, and that comes with allegations, but guess what you're not going to hear me say? I'm not saying Josh Allen isn't elite, because he's a winner. He wins a lot. But
in the regular season,
he needs to... You're right, just like Peyton Manning needed to. You need to beat the allegations in the playoffs. Until he can beat those allegations, he's going to have to take a backseat to Jalen Hurts, who's already beaten the allegations before. Like, he's going to take the backseat to Patrick Mahomes, who's blown those allegations out of the water. Even with a losing season, is anyone looking at Patrick Mahomes saying anything crazy? I mean, Patrick Mahomes has allegations to beat. Do not get me wrong. They had a losing season. I don't play that lightly. I do not take that lightly. You are a Hall of
I
Fame
mean,
elite quarterback, and then you have a losing season. I did not take that lightly. You have to go into next year to beat those allegations. The good thing for Patrick Mahomes
yeah.
is he has a good argument as to why it doesn't kick him out of the conversation, right? He's a very strong argument.
Oh,
He has a history of winning
yeah.
Super Bowls, regular season, everything, all among all those, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to worry too much. But if he lets this continue and he keeps trending all the way down, that baby goat status, yeah, that gets removed real
Mm-hmm.
quick. That gets
Well,
taken
and
away
this is
real quick, you know?
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, and this is the first year in what 8 years he
Mm-hmm.
hasn't made the playoffs,
Yeah.
or
So I'm
even
saying
been
it's
to a
it's
championship
it's
game.
it's like I don't think he's on a serious time frame to beat the allegations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he needs to beat them right here, right now. This like he has to
Mm-hmm.
go and win 16 games in a row next season. Otherwise, he's not elite.
Yeah,
Like that, I could never say that's crazy. He's a guy that's established himself in this league, and he's done a good job. Where he could probably risk another 2 years of mediocrity and still be considered elite, right? Jalen
yeah. I was
Hurts
gonna
gets the
say,
grace of at least one season where he had a winning season, went to the
mm,
playoffs, one and done, very disappointing, with a great roster, has to face these allegations, but like that doesn't take him out of the
yeah,
conversation. That's crazy to me.
yeah, and really, just really thinking about it, I think the word elite gets thrown around a lot too. Um, me, I don't. I know people say Lamar's elite. I don't see it.
I think he is.
I
I
mean,
think he
yeah,
is. He's a winner. But again, he has the same allegations that Josh Allen has. I don't see how, if you could say Josh Allen is elite, I don't see how you can't say Lamar is. Lamar is a better quarterback, in my opinion, than Josh Allen. Lamar he needs to beat the same allegations Josh Allen has to beat, which is winning in the
and-
playoffs, making it to a Super Bowl. He's still got a long career ahead of him. Like, it's not like his career is
yeah,
ending tomorrow. Neither is Josh Allen's,
it-
although they've been 8 years in the league. Like, I understand that,
yeah.
but they're still winners, dude. Let me. I guess I gotta pull
Well,
up. Maybe I gotta pull up
and it's the same
Lamar's.
argument people make with Justin Herbert, who say, and people will tell you, well, Justin Herbert, he's a really good quarterback. He's this and that. Justin
I don't
Herbert,
know.
what has he
Justin
done?
Justin Herbert, I don't see him winning nearly as much as guys like Lamar and Josh Allen.
No, and the thing about Justin Herbert, he had his rookie year he was good. His
Mhm.
what second year he was good.
Justin
I
Herbert
want
is
to say good.
9 games above 500 in the 6 years
Okay,
he's played in the NFL.
yeah, overrated, extremely overrated.
He's not, like people that call him elite. Then yes, I agree. If there are people that are calling him an elite quarterback, yeah, that's overrating him. He's not an elite quarterback. He's not in the discussion with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. He's not because he doesn't win as
No.
much. Now he's a talented guy. You know what this is, and this is actually he has a better situation than this other guy I'm gonna mention, but it's a similar
Hmm.
concept that we had already discussed. Matthew Stafford with the Lions. But unlike
Yeah.
unlike Matthew Stafford the Lions, he hasn't had a grotesquely bad season where he only won 3 games, right?
Yeah.
His lowest win total was 5-8 in the 2023, and then 6-9 in 2020, and those were only his technically losing seasons. He went 9-8, then he went 10-7, 11-6, 11-5 this year. Like he's had his wins and stuff and whatnot. One and done in the playoffs this year. There's like you gotta beat those allegations, dude, and you gotta start winning
Yeah.
more consistently. It's early in his career. Maybe he could turn things around, and he's 9 games above 500. If he consistently goes for the next 6-7 years, where he's winning 11 games a season consistently, like this guy's going to be elite. If he attacks on a Super Bowl on top of that, he's probably going to the Hall of Fame. Like all those things can happen for him. He hasn't done it yet, so you want to prematurely put him in that conversation. Be my guest. But understand it's premature, and everyone has a reasonable argument to say he's not elite. When you don't have a reasonable argument is when you say a guy who has won the Super Bowl, who has been the two of them, who has won consistently since the moment he starting in this league, outside of the 1-4 start when he was a rookie, has never had a losing season when he's played the full season, and that's every year since that rookie year. That is like that to me. I cannot get behind that. That is something that's like you're just disrespecting the position of quarterback at that point. You're telling me that it does like to me it's just like I can't get behind it. But quarterback, you are too influential in the win-loss column.
Mhm.
And it'll always be that way for me, and I'll stay consistent with it till the day I die when it comes to quarterbacks. It's the only position in any sport where I hold this much weight into wins and losses. The only one. I can't think of another position in all of sports where I could think about that. Sometimes I'll use that in terms of goalies in hockey. but only if there's a deep enough correlation. I have to say, if a team loses tremendously without him versus with him, like now you're seeing a correlation. So it's almost nuanced, but like with quarterback, it's innate. It's no matter who is at quarterback, this person has the most influence on whether or not this is going to end in a win or a loss on both sides of the ball, no matter who it is. Right? Jarrett Stidham is going to get all the credit in the world if they go to the Super Bowl, and boy, I'm praying he does. That's what we need.
Yeah. So I mean, I just have to disagree with that. Just because of how bad those teams in Detroit were for years. Like Matthew Stafford doesn't play defense. Matthew Stafford, think of this. The only legit weapon Matthew Stafford had in Detroit was Megatron, and that was what 2-3 years.
2-3 years, you say?
I think so. I'm not really sure.
I think he only had like 3 winning seasons with them. I don't know why this is all funky right now. My all thrown off. I'm like messing up your camera right now. Yeah, 2-3 years. I don't know how impactful. I don't know like what his was as far as wins losses throughout his whole career with them. But what I do know is that he was a loser with Detroit. As bluntly as I can say it, he was a loser with Detroit.
Well, and that was the thing. Like I said,
I'm looking at it right now.
6 years. 6 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So those Detroit teams are bad. Some of those Detroit teams are really bad.
Yeah,
and the
they
management
were.
was even,
Yeah.
And for good measure, I can't knock Stafford for those teams.
I can. It's his job. It doesn't matter how hard the job is. It's your
He
job.
doesn't play defense.
I understand he doesn't play defense, but it's still your job. Like, it does not change the job. My point is the degree of difficulty for your particular job, being the quarterback for the Lions, was a much harder job than being a quarterback for the Colts or the Patriots, right? We had stacked teams. They did not. Cool. Understood.
Yeah.
It's still the job. Like, you're judged on how you do the job. And whether these, like, you can make all the excuses in the world for a guy. I get that. Like, especially if you like the guy, I understand why you would want to do that. But when it comes down to what the job is, like, I'm going to judge you on how you did the job, regardless of the circumstance. Like, I understand it's unfair, but that's the job. This is why you get paid the $50 million a year contracts. This is why you're the face of every franchise. This is why they put a premium on finding the quarterback. Every team that's in the trouble of, we're not winning and we need to find a quarterback. It's because that's the job. That's the guy. That's the guy responsible. At the end of the day. It's always that guy that's responsible. And I'll tell you what else. Like, you can look at a lot of the other teams in history that have gone on to win Super Bowls or make playoff runs and deep playoff runs and whatnot. I mean, look at the Panthers with Cam Newton, right? And Cam Newton, for a good period of time, he was the guy and he did a great job. And then ever since he didn't jump on that fumble, it told me all I needed to know. It told me all I needed to know about that guy. And immediately I dropped him from my elite status. Immediately after that, maybe it was unfair and premature. But eventually I was proven right because he would go on to not be a winner ever again in the NFL.
Because those injuries really, that and Cam, I think that fumble really just messed up.
And the officiating for him, dude, he would get absolutely mollywopped in games and there'd be never a flag in the world for him. Like, yeah, he was officiated differently, but guess what? We're not making excuses for Cam Newton. Hey, do your podcast. You make a great podcast, Cam. We love the personality. As far as being an NFL quarterback, not elite, not going to the Hall of Fame. Sorry, dude. You're not getting that call. You can hold your breath if you want to, but it's going to be done in vain. You're not getting that call for the Hall of Fame. It's the job, dude. It sucks. It's not fair, but this is why this is why we hold them to such a high standard, because that's where you have to be in order to be the best. That's where you have to be. You can make the argument that all those Patriot teams that won the Super Bowl, they didn't have as insanely loaded a roster as you would think in order to win 6 Super Bowls, go 9 times. Like, it wasn't like that for them. They had some really good players. Don't get me wrong, they always had a better defense than the Colts, right? That used to be our excuse, right? We used to talk about Peyton Manning, give Peyton Manning the defense that the Patriots have. You know, he would do wonders and stuff. But again, those are all hypotheticals. We don't actually know that. Peyton Manning playing on the Patriots might have never won a Super Bowl. There is no way we can actually sit here and have a legitimate conversation and pretend that what we're saying is accurate when we're talking about a complete hypothetical scenario. So that's why all
So then
we
let me
can
ask you,
do is judge what was done. The job is the job. We can't make it different for people because their circumstances are different.
mhm.
The job is the job. And it's
So
unfair,
then
it
what about
sucks, but it's the job.
Andrew Luck?
Andrew Luck is the greatest human being to ever step foot on the planet Earth. Okay, let me get that straight right now. No one ever better say a
He's a good
damn
dude.
thing.
He's a good
And
dude.
Andrew Luck was a winner. Andrew Luck was a certified winner. Now, he didn't win the big game, but his career was cut short. But I'll tell you something, Andrew Luck, not going to sniff the Hall of Fame. Elite for when he was there, but was never able to beat the
Yeah.
allegations. Left before he could beat the allegations. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish we got more Andrew Luck. We would probably still be watching him to this day. And honestly,
Mhm.
probably have a few rings on his finger too. Come on, like he's that dude. But
Yeah.
you want to give him the injury excuse. You want to give him the recovery excuse. You want to give him the bad management where we didn't get him an offensive line excuse. You can give him whatever excuse you want. But at the end of the day, if you say that we got him an offensive line and he would have won a Super Bowl if we got him an offensive line, that's a hypothetical. That's something made up, la la land, imaginary. We have no idea.
Mhm.
We can only judge what happened. Unfortunately for us Colts fans, and again for me, I talk about Andrew Luck all the time. He was the most magical football player I've ever watched. It's the only word I use to describe his game of football. The way he played football was magical, purely magical. It made me fall in love with the sport all over again. It was like I was a baby watching it for the first time again when Andrew Luck would step on the field. The most incredible
Mhm.
viewing experience of my life was watching Andrew Luck throw the football to T.Y. Hilton. I tell people all the time, the saddest moment of my life was not the moment I found out Andrew Luck retired. It was the speech when he mentioned why he returned for the 2018 season. And he said it came down to one thing. I like throwing the football to my friends. I love throwing the football to T.Y. Hilton. I broke down in tears because I loved that connection
Yeah.
between him and T.Y. Hilton. That was my favorite thing about every Sunday was T.Y. and Andrew Luck. Like, that was it, man. That was the one, dude. Come on. The ghost. Like, I
Yeah.
loved it. But
That's
again,
not.
I can't defend as far as elite goes and all the guys we're watching in this league. They're going to be ranked
Mhm.
higher because they have won more. Jalen Hurts on the all-time list when it's all said and done, unless he has this horrendous fall off where he never has a winning season again. If he continues the trajectory he's on, he clears Andrew Luck on the all-time list. He will clear him on the all-time list. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see more of Andrew, but that's just the reality. If he wins another Super Bowl, brother, Andrew Luck can't hold a lighter to that guy. We didn't even make a
No.
Super Bowl.
So my thing is with Jalen Hurts, as a quarterback, there was a game, I think it was against the Rams. Might have been, I can't remember who it was. The guy didn't complete a pass in the second half.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
you know who
hard
you
to
can compare
defend.
that to though? You want to know who you can compare that to? You can compare that guy to Patrick Mahomes, who maybe never has done that before, and say that that's why Patrick Mahomes is better. But you want to know who you can't compare that to? You can't compare him to a guy, let's say, like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, who has
Mhm.
never done a fraction of the things that Jalen Hurts has done in this league, and maybe they've never gone in a game where they didn't complete a pass in the second half or fourth quarter or something and lost or whatever the case was. Maybe
Mhm.
they never did that, but they never done the things that he did anyway. So they can't even be put in the conversation. That stat that you gave, that's an allegation he has to beat, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But he's still in that same conversation with Patrick. If Patrick Mahomes did that, we'd have to give him the same kind of shit for that. We'd have to get on him about that. That's crazy. Now you got an allegation
Yeah.
beat, and that's why Patrick Mahomes with the season he had, allegations have to get beat. They have to get beat.
So with Patrick Mahomes, I don't think this is going to be the first down year he's going to have. He's probably the next couple of years. He's going
Yeah.
to have a down year. And here's why. Travis Kelsey, he might be out. He might be
Yep.
retiring.
You might lose Kraft. Yep.
You might then Rasheed Rice. If that guy ever plays again, I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I wouldn't be surprised. And they're in salary cap hell.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have to cut like. You might see Chris Jones as a free agent this year.
Who knows?
Because they're like,
Off season can be really fun this year. But my point too
yeah,
with Patrick Mahomes was give him 2 bad years in a row after this. Like he
yeah,
still has enough. He still has enough on his resume to give him that
yeah.
grace and that pass for that. But at some point, those allegations are gonna get very serious. So he wants to get behind it before it gets there. Jalen Hurts is in that boat right now too. And because his numbers aren't as flashy as Patrick Mahomes, and maybe his style of play isn't as flashy and pretty as Pat Mahomes or Lamar or anything like that, right? The tush push is really carrying him around and whatnot, carrying a lot of that late weight, whatnot. It's ugly. People don't like to watch him. And obviously he's part of one of the most hated franchises in football because of the fans, yada yada, whatever, right? There's a lot of people that are preying on his downfall and waiting for every moment to say he's not a good quarterback. So he's got it a lot tougher as far as the media pressure. But like when you're just objectively looking at it as an IFO, an independent football observer, you're just watching it from afar. There's not a world where Jalen Hurts can't be considered an elite quarterback. And I would go as far again, and I've talked about this with friends. I put him in my top 3 all day long. And I would even say you have an argument for 2, and even, as crazy as it sounds, an argument to be the best quarterback in football right now. But he has ruined that with this season. Unfortunately for him, he ruined it with the season. But give him another great year. Give him another 12-win season and make another Super Bowl. Boy, that conversation is going to get really uncomfortable for a lot of people. All the people that want to see him fail, watch him succeed again. And I think it's a very good chance because I still think that's the best team in that division by far. And I think it was still one of the best teams in the NFC by far. They're still a very loaded roster with a GM who has a knack for acquiring talent. And they have a head coach who fits the culture very well, making the change at OC that they saw necessary. Great offensive line. They have all the weapons in the world. Like, that team is still a Super Bowl contending team walking into next year, even if they don't make any catastrophic changes, right? So, like, this could get very uncomfortable for a lot of people when he goes and balls out again next year if he does that. But I do agree. He has to beat these allegations. He ended the year in a very horrendous way. He looked really bad. Everything was bad. And you got to beat the allegations. But until those allegations are that list of allegations is longer than the list of accolades, I'm sorry, he's elite, dude. And his list of accolades is up there because he wins. He wins. That's what he does. So that's where I go on that one, man. And like when you go down the list, and I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, I wanted to go down the list of quarterbacks. Like, let's just start with our AFC South, right? We have Trevor Lawrence. We have CJ Stroud, we have Cam Ward, and we have Daniel Jones. I don't think there's a single elite quarterback in that list. Not one. Perfect. Let's go to the
Cam Stewart,
Yeah, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the AFC West. You have Bo Nix. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have God knows who's going to be the quarterback. Let's just say Fernando Mendoza now for Vegas. Yeah. There's Gino, but whatever. And then there was whoever. And then you have Justin Herbert. I think you have one elite quarterback in that list. But Bo Nix is making his case, brother. Wow, Bo Nix is making his case to be on this list. I want to see what Bo Nix's career win-loss is right now, what it's sitting at, especially after the season he just had, dude. He had an incredible year. I mean, dude.
Yeah.
He had a monster
Bo is
season.
Borderline.
Last year he went 10-7. This guy's 24-10 so far. Listen, hey, say what you want to say about the guy. You might not like how he plays. It might not be pretty. It's like the same thing as Jalen Hurts. He hasn't gotten the credit that Jalen Hurts gets to have because he hasn't won the Super Bowl or been to a Super Bowl yet. But, damn, if he didn't break that ankle, we might be talking about that Super Bowl right now, but he has a long career ahead of him. If he continues at this trajectory, there's no chance you can leave him off the elite list. But he's a name that he's got to keep building his case. He still has to be. He doesn't have any serious allegations to beat. No, because he had a really, really good season. Everyone just kind of doesn't like that. He's not a super flashy quarterback. He's not a 30, 40 touchdown guy. He threw 12 interceptions rookie year, 11 interceptions his sophomore year. So things that need to work. There's some things that make people a little iffy, but until he starts showing up losing football games, he has a good case for why he can make a lead. Right now, for me, Patrick Mahomes is the only elite quarterback in that division. So no arguments on that one.
Yep.
Awesome. AFC North. We are going to the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns. So Bengals have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has some serious allegations, dude.
Yeah,
he's been to a Super Bowl. That helps. He's been to a Super Bowl. That helps.
You know, if we're knocking Stafford for the team, Burrow's got to be the same way. He's got really good playmakers, but that team's crappy, and the offensive line is not good.
Horrible rookie season was 2-7 or something like that in his rookie year, something like that.
Yeah.
And then let me see what it was. It was 2-7-1. And then he had a 5-5 season. He had a 10-6, 12-4,
Mhm.
5-5, 9-8, 5-3 before the injury here.
Yeah.
Allegations. He's got allegations. He's made a Super Bowl. I'm okay with him being fringe elite. I'll call him a fringe elite
Yeah.
guy that needs to beat the allegations, and he only has 1 year to do it. If he puts out a losing season this coming year, you take him off the list. He has to earn his way back. He's got to make a
What
deep
if he's
playoff run to
injured?
do it, huh?
What if he's injured?
That's unfortunate for him. Then he can't make his case, and he's not elite anymore.
Okay.
He has to beat it, regardless of what happens. He's got to beat it. Otherwise, you have to take him out
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the best ability is availability. I don't care if you're injured. I'm not going to take that. I'm going to hold that against you. You're not playing. Sorry, dude. You missed your chance to beat the allegations because you got injured. Hope you get better. When you get better, maybe you can beat those allegations then, and you can make a big comeback story. But until then, you're not on the list. Obviously, I'm going Lamar as elite. Should have won MVP last year. And been what would that have been 3-time MVP? Would that have made him 3-time MVP? He should have won it. It's crazy he didn't win that one. But absolute winner. But again, every quarterback that doesn't win the Super Bowl this year has allegations to beat, right? That's how I feel every year. You got to go into next year beating allegations. How serious those allegations depends on your past. How many wins you've had, how many things. Lamar, because of his past with the playoffs, serious allegations. He has serious allegations as well. Has to win in the playoffs. Now he's going to be getting a new head coach. We don't know who that's going to be yet. We'll figure that out as time goes on. But yeah, allegations are they are ripe and well, man. So one fringe elite, one elite with some serious allegations. Aaron Rodgers past his prime. I'm not going to say not elite because that's disrespectful to one of the greatest quarterbacks of our lifetime. He'll always be elite till the day he dies, but that's because he's protected by Hall of Fame status. Like, there's some guys where you just got to be like, he's 40 years old, dude. He's protected by Hall of Fame status. You know what I mean? Like, sure, he wasn't elite this season, but he's protected by Hall of Fame status. There's not a thing that can happen to him at this point that will make him not an elite quarterback and Hall of Fame quarterback forever. That's it. It's over. He's
I think the thing that holds him back was just going to one Super Bowl.
No, listen, and this is the thing that I've talked about with many people. That is a stain on his career, just like it's a stain on Dan Marino's career. Remember I told you guys Dan Marino's a winner. He's elite. Yeah. He was elite for his whole career. He's a certified winner. He has a massive, ugly, dirty, nasty stain on his career, and it can't ever be changed because he no longer plays football, and it's going to be the same with Rodgers having only won one. A lot of people for a long time said Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time, and they have to eat the shit that they were talking because he did not live up to that expectation because he only won one Super Bowl. And there's no chance you can rank him above the guys that are in his league that won more. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning both won more than he did. Joe Montana won more than he did. You know, all those guys, they won more than he did. You know, so at the end of the day, elite Hall of Fame, but you are absolutely correct. Massive stain on his career, and that's going to limit him in conversations when you're comparing elite to elite, that's where he falls short. But when you compare him to every other quarterback in the NFL, blows them all out of the water, there shouldn't be a conversation. You should be jailed for having the conversation. If you compare a guy like Aaron Rodgers to a dude like, I don't even know, I don't know what name to say, but like some middle-of-the-pack quarterback Kirk Cousins, you know, you compare him to Kirk Cousins, you should be jailed. Yeah. You should be jailed, you know, but that's the case, right? So we have a protected superstar there, and we have a fringe elite and an elite with serious allegations.
And then, the Browns don't even count because they've never had.
I mean, come on, it's Shador. We'll give him some chances and stuff, but yeah, that was awful. He's the worst quarterback rating of all time. But I like Shador. I like him as a guy. I like the character, but you know, as a quarterback, he's serious allegations to beat with not a lot going for him. So good luck to him. In a franchise that's notorious for not helping quarterbacks, right? Now we can go to the AFC East. So the Jets don't have anybody, do they? Justin Fields is there, so we're going to ignore the Jets. The Bills have Josh Allen. We've already discussed he's elite, but allegations, serious allegations, same allegations as Lamar Jackson. Then you have the Dolphins, Tua, definitely not elite, not winning nearly enough, who has been trending downwards, never done anything worth anything to protect him from these allegations. He's got massive allegations to beat, and he's outside looking in. Then you have the Patriots with Drake May, who hasn't done enough yet to consider elite, but again, he could be going to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl. He could win the Super Bowl. he immediately catapults into the conversation because we don't have enough history to say he's not, right? He's starting off on the best possible note right now. So if he wins the Super Bowl, if he goes to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl, he gets to be in the conversation. But it's so early in his career. I would say it's too early to label him, but he has a lot going for him. Same thing I said for Bo Nix, right? That guy has a lot going for him, but it's just too early. Actually, Bo Nix would have more if the Patriots fall short of the Super Bowl. Bo Nix has more going for him than Drake May does. He has 2 straight winning seasons. Drake May does not. So, so that's where I'm with Drake May. But yeah, we give him time. I don't like to label guys too soon, too early. It's a little premature to label them, but a lot of good going for him. So Josh Allen, elite. So far we have Josh Allen, we have Patrick Mahomes. Where I honestly, I'm trending more towards saying Joe Burrow's outside looking in with everything considered. So we'll just go and say Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, end of list right now. As of current elite guys in the AFC, end of list. With Bo Nix and Drake May right there, Joe Burrow outside looking in, Joe Burrow trending down, the other 2 trending up, right? All right, so then we move on to the NFC. Let's start with the NFC North. We got the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, no. We have the Bears with Caleb Williams, who's making a very strong case. He made a really strong case for himself this year. But again, he's outside looking in. Still has a lot of allegations to beat. Not there yet. We have the Lions with Jared Goff. I would say he's outside looking in. A lot of allegations. Never really beat them. Been to a Super Bowl. Had a horrible start to his career with the Rams. It's hard to overlook. Jared Goff has a lot. He's deep in his career, so he has to do a lot to make up for it. And it's the same thing I say about like Matt Stafford too. But sticking with this division, Jared Goff outside looking in, a lot of allegations to beat. He's got to make it to the Super Bowl and win one. He has to win one for me to start to consider the elite status for Jared Goff. Not even close to me right now. Jordan Love, not enough. Outside. No. Not even really looking in at this point to me either. He's got to do way more to get to be in that conversation. But the Packers have been trending up. So, shout out to Jordan Love. I always wanted him to be a Colt. I was super excited. Really wanted him to get drafted by the Colts. But not there yet. NFC South.
It's been 6 years with the guy.
Falcons have Penix. No. Panthers have Bryce Young. Too early and not good enough.
Too early.
And not good enough. I mean, they haven't won anything, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you like the talent in him. They haven't won enough. So, and it's early though, and it's early, so he's got a long time to come up and make his career. Yeah. Again, I'm not damning these guys to never being elite. When I say a guy's not elite, I'm talking about where they stand right here, right now. That's it, because that's all I talk about is what we've seen. I don't talk about hypotheticals. I'm not talking about the future. So he's got a chance, but it's not there right now for him. Tyler Sugg. I like him a lot, but obviously not too early. Rookie. And Baker Mayfield, not enough. Has not done enough yet. He's made a big comeback in his career. He's a very solid quarterback. Really good dude. Huge comeback in his career. A lot of things look good for him, but has not done enough yet. Has some serious allegations to beat after the collapse this season, and they looked really bad at times this year. A lot of allegations to beat. He's outside looking in, so there's none in that division. We haven't disagreed on anyone yet, right? So far, so good. We haven't disagreed on anyone.
The only one we might disagree on is Jalen, but we've talked about that enough.
Right, we've talked about that enough. But all right, so let's just do that division now. NFC East. So we have Dak Prescott, who wins a lot, doesn't win in the playoffs. Dak Prescott has serious allegations to beat. He's, I think, in a very similar boat to me as Joe Burrow. He is out, but same boat as Joe Burrow. He's outside looking in, and I think all the talent in the world to be elite just has to get those. He just has to win more and get it done in the playoffs. Like make it to the playoffs and get it done in the playoffs. And he's got to stay on the field. He's been riddled with some injuries, man. It's been tough for him. So availability is a problem for him too. Dak Prescott, I gotta pass on that. Outside looking in.
Dak may not even be. He's been in the league how long? 12 years now.
Dak Prescott. Let's see where he's at all time or in his career in wins and total games. There it is. So Dak Prescott is. Oops, wrong thing. Okay, so he is 83-55-1 in his career. But he's also had 1, 2, 3 seasons where he has not played the full years. But for the seasons he did play the full years, he's been a winning quarterback. The worst season he had was 8-8. Worst season he had was 8-8.
Yeah.
So he's there. Like he's there. He's got the wins. He's a winner. Clearly can win football games. He plays very well. Turnovers can be a problem at times. He's gone several seasons with less than double-digit interceptions. So I don't want to hear that it's a innate problem for him. But he's right there, but he just has to win. He has to win in the playoffs. He's got the allegations that you got to win in the playoffs. I think those are the same allegations as like Lamar Jackson. Lamar has won more than him, so give Lamar credit for that. But I don't know actually if Lamar's won more games. I think he might have more wins than Lamar Jackson, but in just total like the I guess win percentage, Lamar might be a higher win percentage because I think he's been in the league longer than Lamar, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure.
He's been since 2016. Lamar was in 2018.
Yeah.
Right?
So then he's got 2 years of football ahead of him, and he started every year since he was a rookie. So, but yeah, no, he's a winner. But again, hasn't known where it matters outside looking in. Jackson Dart.
Josh Allen, Lamar.
Right. So now we're on Jackson Dart.
I like what I see, but way too early. And the Giants. I mean, if he doesn't get concussed or if he doesn't tear his ACL on that field, he may never.
You can like what you see all you want. Everyone that I hear says the same thing, but if you're judging just individual performance and you're judging the things that you saw of him and everything through the year, it's obviously not enough to label him. But at the end of the day, they were not winning football games like at all. So I can't get behind that. I mean, they had a big win against the Eagles. Congrats to that. But like other than that, dude, like what are we even talking about? Then obviously the Eagles, you're still hard stuck on Jalen Hurts not being elite.
Yeah, for the most part. But if Jalen Hurts bounces back next year, they make a deep playoff run. I'll eat my words and we'll go from there. But
he needs to make another deep playoff run, a third deep playoff run, for you to start eating your words.
He needs to make a deep playoff run. And he needs to play better. If he can do that and play better as a QB.
What's the bar for playing better? Like, does he just need to throw more yards? Does he need to throw more touchdowns? What I don't understand. Because for me, playing better for a quarterback is winning more games, and I don't know how many more games you can ask a guy to win.
Well, completing a pass in the second half is a good start.
He's got to beat those allegations, and he's only ever done that one time. So the very first game they play, when he completes a pass in the second half, then I expect you to eat your words.
Yeah.
If that's the thing, if that's the whole problem that you have with him, if he goes out and does it and completes a pass in the second half, you got to eat your words. That's a crazy thing to hold against the guy that's won a Super Bowl and been to two.
If Jalen Hurts plays better next year, I will DM Jalen Hurts and I'll screenshot it and I'll share it to everybody. And I'll say, hey, I am so sorry that I've hated you so long, but thank you for proving me wrong. And we'll post it.
This is going online. Like, we're going to have record of that statement. So I'm going to hold you to it. I'm a man of accountability.
Yeah.
I love accountability. So as long as you hold yourself to that standard and you do that, man, we'll pull it up on the podcast when that time comes. And I honestly, I can't wait. But and in the same breath, if he has another bad season, like, I'll get on here. I already made the claim. I've already said this. So you guys cannot be surprised when if he has a bad year, I come up and say he's still elite, but the allegations are getting very serious. Because that's exactly what I said I would say if that were to happen. I've already made that claim. Now, if it's really bad, I might just be like, the allegations are too strong. We can't call him elite until he beats them. But for now, he's elite. I give him elite protection. Yeah. He's not. He's an elite quarterback, 100% in my mind, 100%. So we're done with the NFC East. Oh, actually, Jaden Daniels.
Oh, too early.
Too early? I don't even think it's too early. I think he's just not a winner. Like, he's got 1 year winning, and that's it.
Really?
1 year winning, and that's it. I mean, he's got to beat those allegations. And you're right, it's early. He's young in his career, so next year maybe he could do it again. He could start doing it. But until then, like right now, absolutely not. Keep him the hell off that list. He's same boat as CJ Stroud. Same boat as CJ Stroud. They look like winners, but they're not actually winners. Davis Mills was looking like a better quarterback than CJ Stroud this year.
100%.
So, NFC West, the Rams. Rams. Matthew Stafford again. Matthew Stafford can solidify himself with a Super Bowl win here. He's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. If you're looking at the totality of his career without the second Super Bowl, I struggle to see a way where you put him in the Hall of Fame, and I struggle to see you comparing him with all the other elite quarterbacks of our generation. I struggle to see that without another Super Bowl appearance, at least, let alone Super Bowl win. It's difficult, bro. Like, you're talking about a guy that's just barely over 500. The recency bias is kicking in, and he's trending up. So I'm giving him the credit of trending up. So if you want to go ahead and put him in the elite, I'll concede and we'll allow him in the elite status for right now. But I think it's so super contingent on how the end of this season goes and whether or not he continues to play after this. Remember, I made the statement in the Discord. We talked about Matthew Stafford. I made the statement that if they win the Super Bowl, if I'm Matthew Stafford, I retire and ride off into the sunset. That would guarantee my Hall of Fame, my elite status for all of eternity, 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Like, oh wait, did Aaron Donald win Super Bowl MVP that year?
No, Cooper Cup.
Cooper Kupp won the Super Bowl MVP, so he's not even the Super Bowl MVP. Oh, dude, he's got to get it this year then. He's got to get it. I'm sorry, you can't put him as elite without that. Like, that, you got to. I'm sorry, dude. That's crazy. You let the receiver you were throwing to get the title over you. That's nutty. That is nutty, dude.
In that time, though, Cooper Cup was a monster.
Cooper Kupp was unreal. He was unreal, absolutely. But I'm just saying, dude, if everyone's looking at that game and you're sitting there saying Cooper Kupp was more of a valuable player than the quarterback there, like, I'm sorry, that screams volumes. And when you have the resume that Matt Stafford has, not winning Super Bowl MVP hurts. It hurts because you have a lot of stuff to make up for. You are barely over 500 for your career. You have several seasons with less than 6 wins under your belt, bro. Like, I'm sorry. That's, like, disgusting to me. That's genuinely disgusting to me. I want to see the exact number because I keep saying several, but I could be wrong. I could be overblowing it. I want to see the exact number of under 6 wins in the season for Matthew Stafford. Let's see. He started 10 games that year, so we'll count only the games he's played at least 15 games in. Okay. All right. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, Oh, he played 10 games that year. Only 9 games. There's 3 years under 6 wins, 6 or less wins. Okay. He's 120, 118 and 1 in his career. And let me tell you, with the Rams, 12-5, he had a 3-6 season with that injury, 9-6 season following, 10-6, 12-5. Of his years that he played the total seasons, he's had winning seasons with the Rams. So that 120, 118 and 1, you take away the Rams years, and he's awful, right? Awful. So you have a lot of making up to do. Now you have the stats. You don't got to worry about the stats. It's the wins and losses that's hurting you the most. Right now, again, he played as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He's obviously won a Super Bowl. He is, you want to say...
You think he gets the MVP this year?
Either him or Drake May. Or Bo Nix you can give it to, but I think it's going to be between him or Drake May, and I think... I don't know. I mean, Drake May, it's hard because that's such an easy schedule, and I don't like that. We're going to talk about the Patriots in a second, but... Yeah, no. We'll see who wins the MVP. To me, MVP is just a political thing anyway at this point, especially like just over the years watching it. It's like it's such a silly thing. I don't really hold too much weight into MVPs. Super Bowl MVPs I hold more weight into than regular MVPs.
I would say this.
Yeah,
between the Rams and the go ahead.
No, final verdict on Matthew Stafford.
Oh no, I think he is.
Okay, I'm down to put him in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so elite. Yeah. I think so far with the NFC we have Jalen. I'm not letting you overrule me on this. Jalen Hurts is elite. So Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford so far in the NFC. I think that's the only ones that we've said so far from the NFC. And we have the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, definitely not. The Seahawks, Sam Darnold, not enough. Sam Darnold's trending up, but not nearly enough. No. And then we have the
2 good back-to-back seasons, doesn't it? No.
And I think that's all, right? We did, that's the entire NFC. So we said 2 in the NFC, and we said, what was it, maybe 3 in the AFC that we gave it to? We gave it to Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford. That's your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right there. That's your best 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right there. And if you want to tell me Joe
And
Burrow's
the
on that
funny,
list, you're out of your mind because clearly he hasn't been doing
no,
enough to do that. So you could keep living in the
no,
past, or you could, like I said, I think, and I personally, I say this all the time. I think Joe Burrow plays pretty good football, and he looks pretty good when he does play. But all the people that want
no.
to put Joe Burrow as a top 5, top 3 quarterback in the NFL, I genuinely think they're just simply sexually attracted to Joe Burrow. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just has nothing to do with football. The nickname, the Joe Burr nickname, didn't come from him having a beautiful fourth quarter comeback to
Yeah,
ice the game. No, no, no. He wore a mink coat. He wore a mink
yeah,
coat. Dude started calling him Joe Burr. Stop, dude. I'm not doing this. Come on, man. He's not there. You guys got
yeah.
to give it up on Joe
Well,
Burrow.
and it's funny in the landscape of the NFL now versus the NFL in like Peyton Manning's day. Because back in that day you had Peyton Manning, you had Tom Brady's, you had
Mm-hmm.
I
Philip
feel like you
Rivers,
had a
Drew
lot more elite.
Brees. You had Matt
Drew
Ryan at one
Brees,
point came into the
Matt
league.
Ryan.
You had Aaron Rodgers. Early on, you
Yeah,
still had Brett Favre.
yeah.
You had plenty.
Al
You
Smith
had
for a
plenty
minute.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Back in those times, like there were more elite QBs than there were like today. I mean, we just let's say double what there is today. I mean, Alex freaking Smith at one point
I never
was
liked
considered
Alex
an elite
Smith.
court.
Yeah, I never would have considered.
You
I
know, Alex Smith.
personally never did. But listen, that was back before I thought wins were everything, right? That was
Yeah,
before I was a wins were everything guy. That's when I didn't like Alex Smith. If I
yeah,
go back and think about it and look at it, I don't remember what his record was, but I do remember my brother loved him and said he was a winner and he would always win
yeah.
games and stuff like that. And so I just always didn't like his game. I never liked that. Oh, we didn't say Brock
Mm,
Purdy's name. Brock Purdy.
no,
Hey, listen,
no.
listen.
He didn't.
Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's.
He,
I might be inclined to agree with you. I might be inclined to agree with you that he's not. But, and it's a strong but. Okay, he is by all accounts a winner. 30 and 15 in
well,
his career.
no, I'm not taking that away, but Mac Jones took this same offense and they were winning games with Mac Jones.
That's a good
So
football team. All right, so if you need him to do a little more, all right, I'm down with not putting him in there. I'm just saying the
yeah,
immediate note to me, I'm like, listen, I'm with you. I never liked Brock Purdy either. I was never a
yeah,
Brock Purdy guy. But once we brought up Alex Smith, it made me think of this immediately. I'm like, hey,
yeah.
dude, he's a winner. You just can't deny it. He's a
He
freaking
wins.
winner, dude. Now
Yeah.
he has to win something that matters. So I'm not gonna put him in that list yet. He hasn't won anything that matters. It's the same reason why I didn't put Joe
Mhm.
Burrow on the list. Actually, Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl, so take that out. But he hasn't won anything that
Yeah.
matters. But he's a winner, and it's a short sample size. So it's a really small sample size. We're talking about 45 games. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
small sample size, so we have to see it go on a little longer. I'm okay with leaving him off that list. We'll keep the 5 that we have.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't put him over any of the 5 that we got already named. So God knows I wouldn't do
No.
that. So yeah, man,
No.
that's our list. So listen, we went through it, and I mean, you guys would want to replace Jalen Hurts with Joe Burrow. I think that was what you guys mentioned. That you guys said. I can't validate that with the fact that Joe Burrow hasn't done anything in this league. Like he really hasn't. I mean, he
Yeah.
went to the Super Bowl again. You want to give him credit, but at the end of the day, dude, he's just never on the field and barely a winner himself.
Yeah. Yeah. That Cincinnati team's not good. I wouldn't be surprised at some point next year Joe Burrow forces his way out of Cincinnati. I think he I think he does the same thing that Carson Palmer does. I think he retires and he won't play for the team anymore.
I do want to say something that I just found out came across my face just now. He does have
Yeah.
something going for him. Joe Burrow currently as it stands is the all-time leader in completion percentage at
Oh.
68.5.
Oh, there you go.
So, but again,
He's
multiple
accurate.
disappointing seasons. Multiple disappointing seasons, and then injuries have
Yeah.
derailed a lot of them. 9-8 the year before
Yeah.
this past season, 5-3 this year with the injury coming in, so he missed this year.
Mhm.
Only played 10 games in 2023. Only played 10 games in 2020. Only won 2 games in that year. 5 games in 2023. So like those years that he got injured, it wasn't looking good for
Yeah.
him either. It was almost like he got the injury was almost beneficial to him because now we can just use that as the
Yeah.
excuse, and we didn't have to see him go a whole year being average, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Yeah.
just
I mean,
saying, dude, it doesn't look too good.
yeah.
It doesn't look too bright for him. But
Like,
remember what I said? I said he was fringe. I'm okay with
yeah.
us saying he's a fringe elite guy. He's that sixth guy on the list, if you want to give a sixth guy on the list.
Yeah.
But
I think he's going to be like Stafford. I think if he moves to a different team, I think he's going to look a lot better. What he is in Cincinnati, but he's just And the thing about it is, I have almost no sympathy for players. As much as I make the case for Matt Stafford to be, he's an elite quarterback. At the same time, you signed that contract. They offered your team was terrible, and they offered you all that money to be the guy, and because of that, you couldn't put players around you.
Mm-hmm.
You made that choice. You made that choice to choose the money over winning, and that's what I think I liked about guys like. And a lot of people disagree with me. Like Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they made sure the team around them was good in order for them to compete and not have all this money. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in the offseason you hear Peyton Manning's taking a pay cut or restructuring his contract so they can keep the Marvin Harrison, you can keep the Reggie Waynes, the Dwight Freeney, the Robert Mathises, those like all those really good players.
Yeah.
They and you don't see that anymore. You see guys are getting paid like you're backing up the Brinks truck, and they're signing these contracts. And Kansas City is a good example. You know, every time a defensive player got paid, well, Chris Jones he's not gonna go to training camp. He's gonna hold out until he gets paid. Well, guess what? You're $50 million under the cap now, dude. You're probably gonna be cut for that team to win.
Well, listen, and this is why I say we have a moral responsibility to hold these quarterbacks to such high standards because they eat up a lot of that money that belongs to some of those other players that you might think are more impactful, right? That might actually be better football players. Because I for one don't think the best player in the NFL is a quarterback. I think it's Myles Garrett. As a matter of fact, I don't even think the second best player in the NFL is a quarterback. I think it's Will Anderson. So those guys are not gonna make as much money as maybe CJ Stroud will make because CJ Stroud is a quarterback. So you better be damn sure that CJ Stroud, like we're under a microscope and we're judging every little thing. And yes, you throw 4 interceptions in a game, your ass. Beat the allegations or pack your bags because you're taking money off the really, really good football players who are making your job so damn easy and you're still failing to do your job. And that's again goes back to why I say I'm not going to take anything away from Jalen Hurts because I know we see it year in and year out. We see guys that are in situations that look just like that, where you have an amazing defense and the quarterback doesn't get the easy job done. Jalen got the easy job done. Whether you think his job is easy or not, I don't really care. He got the job done. And other guys have failed to do that. So, yes, he gets credit for getting the job done. Always and forever, quarterbacks will always get that credit, but they'll also always get that blame. And I think it's our moral responsibility to do so because they're eating away at money that belongs to the better players in the NFL that are never going to get it because quarterback is innately more important, more impactful, and that's just the sport that we play. And I remember I was bringing up a point when we were talking about basketball to open the show when I mentioned that there's 5 players on that court. There's no position in football, excluding the quarterback position. No position in football has more impact on the results of a football game than any individual position in basketball because there's only 5 players. Every single position on a basketball court has more influence on the outcome of a game than any other position in football, sans the quarterback. I said, did I do that right? Sans? That's a good way of using sans?
Yeah, sans, yeah.
Nice. I'll be a reporter.
Yeah, and just going back to our LeBron James versus Michael Jordan conversation, it's when back in the, I mean, obviously not now because he's like what 100? No, I'm kidding, he's like 40.
Still
LeBron
playing?
back in the still playing at a
high
somewhat
level.
high level, but
At a high level.
43. But back in the day, if LeBron wasn't on the court, dude, those Cavs teams were, you went from Superman to Clark Kent.
Lakers are 25-16. They're 6th seed right now. I know that's a lot to do with the young guys over there too, with Luka and AR, Austin Reeves. But the thing that I was gonna say too that I think I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but like, I hold a lot of. I think I did mention it. I hold a lot of weight to championships, but I also hold a lot of weight to winning throughout the regular season and winning games in general and making it to the championship games. That's why when I say a guy made a Super Bowl, I hold weight to that. I give credit to Joe Burrow for making a Super Bowl. I give credit to those guys for making it. Making a Super Bowl is the most difficult thing in sports, right?
Yeah.
Out of any of the major sports, going to the Super Bowl, obviously excluding things like the World Cup, which only happens once every 4 years, the NFL, like the 4 major sports in America, the championship game, the NFL's, the Super Bowl, is the most difficult to make.
Yeah.
And so I give credit for making the Super Bowl, but I also hold a lot of weight to winning any individual game and winning a lot in the regular season and making it to the playoffs. And in LeBron's case, he made it to the finals a lot more than Michael Jordan ever did. So, like, I give him credit for that. That's something that you can give credit for. Like, that's a big deal. And the longevity that he's done this at, the level he's played at, the dominance he's had for how long he's had it with no breaks. Like, everyone's got an argument. Like, if you say Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time, you're not crazy at all. If you say LeBron's the greatest player of all time, you're not crazy at all. If you say, like, Vince Carter is the greatest player of all time, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I love Vince Carter. That's my favorite basketball player of all time. I wouldn't fix my mouth to say that. I know the deal, you know? But
it's just like saying T-Mac was one of the greats, too. Was he?
He's one of the could-have-beens. He's one of the great could-have-beens. Just like Grant Hill. Grant Hill was LeBron before LeBron. Like, come on, dude. Grant Hill was the man, dude. But, you know, but that's when you brought up that parallel, I just wanted to show that the difference between it when it comes to a quarterback and any individual player in the basketball, any individual player in baseball, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever. Quarterback is easily the most influential when it comes to wins and losses out of any position in any sport, point blank, period. Right? The only other sport where one individual player has more influence on the results of the game are the single player sports, tennis, golf. You know, because obviously that's all. You're just you, and that's all you got. But you're talking about a team sport. You're talking about an 11-man sport where one guy has that much influence. Yeah, I'm going to hold him under a microscope. I'm going to be very harsh when I critique them, and I'm going to weigh the wins and losses very heavily against them or for them. So, I mean, we've done a lot here. I did want to talk about the state of the playoffs a little bit. But I think we could save that for a different episode. We've gone on for an hour and 15. This could be our quarterback special.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could talk for days on days about quarterbacks and football and everything. But I think it's a good place to keep it here. My take official on this one. We said our 5 elite guys, but Jalen Hurts, absolutely no debate about it. Elite. Make no mistakes, everybody. Any closing words, my man?
Be safe, be warm, and don't turn into Russell Wilson.
Look at
That's the only man who's ever played himself out of the Hall of Fame.
But look, we don't know that he's gonna play himself out of the Hall of Fame. But again, hey, we'll have this conversation another day too with him. Like I said, I look back at the numbers. I'm like, it's hard to argue outside the Hall of Fame for this guy. He might actually just go ahead and make it. But yeah, man, I just want to point out, man, guys, Jesse had a very, very nice closing message. Most people, when I ask for a closing message, say something about their favorite team. He wants you guys to be nice, be warm, have a good time, live your lives. This is a good man, the mark of a good man. Me, on the other hand, no. Not gonna say any of that shit. Subscribe, assholes. I'm just kidding, guys. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, comment, subscribe. Join the Discord if you want to follow the conversation. Link is in the description of this video. We love you guys. We appreciate everyone who tunes in, comments, shares the TikTok, shares the Instagram videos. And without further ado, guys, this was the 14th episode, and I will see you guys next time. These are going to be sporadic episodes. Off-season moves slow, and I just get a random hankering to talk, so I might throw one tomorrow or next week or next month. I don't know how long it's going to be, but just be on the lookout. Turn the little notification thing on. I don't know. It was like a bell. If you were wondering what this gesture was, it was a bell, because that's the notification thing. I felt I had to explain that. It was a little weird the way I did that. But everyone, I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Peace.